and their personal capacity today to show their support. In these polarized times, it takes courage. It takes commitment for them to stand with me. I'm truly grateful for the work that they do tirelessly and selflessly, guiding those who want a better life and who want it here. So, a few things right at the start. JSO will be getting its funding for the mobile fingerprint machines that they need. Beyond that, this bill does nothing that federal and state law does not already do. There are elements of the bill that will likely draw the city into expensive lawsuits. There is language in the bill that is hurtful and stoking fear in immigrants who are living and working here lawfully. So to every immigrant living in Jacksonville, whether you have been here for decades or whether you have just arrived, I want you to hear this from your mayor. You belong, you matter, you are loved, and we will continue to stand with you. Now then, thank you all for being here, and I want to just say a further note about how I feel about the immigrant community. Immigrants are an important part of the beautiful mosaic that is Jacksonville. They contribute to our community. They pay $1.4 billion in taxes every year. That's here, by the way. That's in Jacksonville. They work hard. They invest in our city. They are entrepreneurs. And the facts are clear. Immigrants commit fewer crimes per capita than those of us who are native-born Americans. Like all of us, they also want violent criminals off the streets. Like all of us, they also want violent criminals off the streets. And JSO is doing an incredible job of doing just that. Our violent crime statistics continue to fall, and the sheriff and the women and men of JSO are to be commended. JSO has a very difficult job to do, and now they are being asked to do more. It has always been my position that we will provide the equipment and the resources that they need. So as I said, they will receive the funding for the 25 fingerprint scanners that have been requested. I wish that alone had been all 2025-147 was. But it isn't. It wasn't. Instead, it includes language that is hurtful, language that is performative, language that is performative but not substantive. There is nothing in this bill that isn't already required by federal or state law. And in fact, the state law already carries a harsher penalty. So why would JSO need to arrest someone under a new local ordinance when they already have a stronger state law? Jacksonville has always followed the law, and we will continue to do so as long as that law is constitutional. In fact, JSO has had an agreement with ICE since 2008, and sanctuary cities have been banned in Florida since 2019. I suspect you members of the media all know that. Any suggestion to the contrary, is intentionally misleading. On top of it being redundant, this bill puts our local government in a lane where, frankly, it just does not belong. Courts have repeatedly ruled that immigration enforcement is a function of the federal government. By passing this ordinance, some of the same folks who like to lecture me about fiscal responsibility have put your tax dollars at risk of paying an expensive lawsuit. When those cases inevitably come, I'll remind our citizens how much money is being spent defending a law that does nothing that state and federal government isn't already doing. Money that could have been spent on your streets, your sidewalks, your small businesses, and making your housing more affordable. Right now, I'm hearing from people here lawfully who are terrified they will be swept up in all of this, whether it's meant for them or not. When people feel targeted, they are less likely to report crimes. They're less likely to seek medical help, send their children to school, or cooperate with police. That makes all of us less safe. I want to be crystal clear. I do not believe this bill is necessary. and I will not sign it. It will become law without my signature. Allowing it to become law without my signature does not impede law enforcement nor prevent them from doing their job in any way. It does keep my name from being attached to something that creates a sense of fear in immigrants living here lawfully. So why not veto it? Because it's a distraction that would delight those who want to fight our city's forward progress to further their own ambitions. I want to be clear, I am not afraid of that fight. I just don't think it is worth sacrificing all we have left to do in this city. We've accomplished so much, and there is so much left to do. I don't believe it is worth sacrificing all we have left to do over a bill that does not change anything. So I want to close where I began. Immigrants, many of whom I have had the privilege of welcoming during naturalization ceremonies, are a vital part of our city. In Jacksonville, they make up more than 12% of the population and help fuel our local economy with $4.1 billion in spending power. Jacksonville is also home to nearly 10,000 immigrant entrepreneurs. An immigrant owns 1 in 5 small businesses in our city. They are not our enemies. They are a big part of what makes Jacksonville strong. We must be a city that welcomes, a city that builds bridges, not walls, a city that leads with love and not fear. Each and every one of us comes from an immigrant family. You've heard me talk about mine. This is my family. They come here from Lebanon. They came here over a century ago, searching for a better life. And like so many others, they worked hard, and they built a foundation for the next generation. That spirit of resilience and hope is alive in our immigrant families today. We will continue to educate on lawful immigration. We will work with our legal community to deepen engagement and protect constitutional rights. We will celebrate the rich, vibrant cultures that make Jacksonville shine, and we will defend every community from scapegoating and fear-mongering. I am the mayor of Jacksonville, all of Jacksonville, and I will ensure that our city lights the path toward citizenship today, that we celebrate the new citizen tomorrow, and that we always lead with love. And now I would like to welcome to the podium the Very Reverend Kate Moorhead, followed by Dr. Gladys Velarde of UF Health, and then immigration attorney Andrea Reyes. And then I'll take your questions.
My name is Kate Moorhead Carroll. I am the Dean of St. John's Cathedral. St. John's Cathedral Church was founded in 1834 here in the heart of Jacksonville. We are one of the oldest Christian churches in this city, almost 200 years old. For all this time, we have been serving Jesus here in the heart of the city. This city is filled with people who know the right thing and do the right thing. The population of this city that is religious, 94% of you are Christian. I speak to you now, Christian to Christian. In our tradition, Jesus said, the great commandment is this: love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. To arrest people who live and work peacefully in this city is to go against the teachings of Jesus. These are our neighbors. They paid $1.8 billion in taxes in the state of Florida in 2022. They live and work in this city with us, owning more than 7,000 local businesses. We must love them. We must protect them. We must stand with them. Jesus is calling us to love our neighbors as ourselves, not arrest them. This is the very heart of the gospel. If you are Christian, please pray about your thinking and hear me.
Madam Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Dr. Gladys Velarde, Professor and Medical Director of the Women's Heart Program at UF Health Jacksonville. As a physician and community healthcare leader, I firmly assert that healthcare is and must always remain apolitical. We provide medical care to every individual who seeks our help, without regard to immigration status, race, religion, sexual orientation, political affiliation, or any distinguishing factor. Public health does not recognize someone's status. Illness knows no citizenship. Introducing redundant local immigration laws will not enhance our community's safety. Rather, it will undermine public health by instilling fear, discouraging individuals, including those with contagious diseases, and we've all seen that during the pandemic, from seeking necessary medical attention. History and evidence clearly demonstrates that such measures drive vulnerable populations away from healthcare services, endangering the broader community's health. Furthermore, the potential for racial profiling under unnecessary local legislation risks intimidating even documented immigrants from accessing timely health care, exacerbating existing disparities and public health risks. Our obligation as healthcare providers is unequivocal. We must advocate for the well-being of every member of our community. Health, compassion, and human dignity transcends politics. We must stand unified against anything that threatens the health and safety of our community, and stand for the health and the well-being of all of our citizens. Thank you for the opportunity.
My name is Andrea Reyes, and as I mentioned earlier, I am an immigration attorney. I was born in Colombia and came to the States when I was 6 years old. I immigrated with my family and was very fortunate to live the American dream. For the past 10 years, I have represented and kept families together and worked with many amazing, hardworking individuals who consistently represent the dreams, ideals, and values of the so-called American dream, which I myself am breathing, living proof of it. It is heartbreaking to see this city that I love, that I call home, a city built by hard work, diversity, and resilience, moving in a direction that is not only dangerous, but deeply misguided. This ordinance will affect every normal family in this city. The mixed status family where a Puerto Rican US citizen wife that suffers from lupus, a life-threatening condition, would be exposed to losing her #1 support, leaving her and her family and her US citizen children alone. The DACA recipient who currently is in medical school, who does not have permanent legal status, but has DACA protections for the last 10 years. The woman who is a legal permanent resident right now, who suffered violent sexual prosecution in her home country for her political and religious views, who came to the US seeking refuge and found it through an asylum process, who is currently in refugee status waiting for the opportunity to become a legal permanent resident. How will they know whether or not these individuals are or are not documented? Let's get one thing clear. Not all immigrants are undocumented. We are doctors, engineers, teachers, caregivers, entrepreneurs. We are white, brown, black, and every shade in between. We are Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, and everything in between. We are naturalized US citizens, green card holders, refugees, and yes, some of us are in the legal process, stuck in bureaucratic limbo, waiting for the US government to catch up on all its delays. How will they know whether or not we are or are not documented? This ordinance doesn't just go after the undocumented. It paints a target on anyone who looks like an immigrant. And that should terrify every single person in this room and every single person listening. But I want to speak to the immigrant community. You are not alone. We know many of you are scared, but right now there's an army of lawyers, advocates, faith leaders, business owners, and allies who are ready to support you. We see you, we stand with you, and we are not going anywhere.
Again, I want to really thank all of these folks for being here today. Really turned into an army, and I appreciate it so much because it's really hard right now to speak up. There are so many people who are afraid if they speak up, they'll be penalized for that. And yet here are all these beautiful community leaders who are here because it is so important to let our immigrant community know how very important they are to Jacksonville. So with that, I will take any questions that you have.
So Mayor, this bill passed with only 12 votes on council that theoretically need 13 to override a veto.
Yep.
So how much did the rhetoric coming from the governor and attorney general factor into this decision?
Yeah, I did not see a clear path to a veto, to sustaining a veto from the council, I'll be honest with you. This was a very difficult decision for me, Jake. I wanted to support the sheriff's office and what they need. I very much appreciate what they have done to bring crime down in this city. And I wish that the bill that had been offered as a substitute would have passed. I would have gladly signed that. But this bill, intended or not, this bill puts a target on the backs of our entire immigrant community. And frankly, as I said in my remarks, and this was really a big thing for me, we are making tremendous strides in this city, faster than some folks would like to see. And there has been an effort to slow us down, frankly, because of others' ambitions. And I'm not going to allow a distraction, which, go look, please double check me on all this. Vet me out, see if I'm right about this. There's no difference. Take the piece about funding the sheriff's office out. There is nothing that changes anything with this bill that already exists, and it will be challenged constitutionally. So this was a performative action. It reads like a resolution in support of our national immigration policy. And frankly, I would have been far more comfortable if council had just drafted a resolution, because that's really what it reads like. I still wouldn't have signed it, but it would have made more sense than to put us in the crosshairs for litigation and to cause unnecessary fear for our immigrant community.
Downstairs, Councilman Carrico, he mentioned comments that you made a while back across the pond. And
Yeah.
His words were that those words contribute to fear mongering. Mayor, do you wish to respond to that?
No, I mean, look, Kevin Carrico said that I used words I did not use. I'm not going to give him any energy beyond that. I specifically said, after I talked about where they would be holding illegal immigrants, that I wished I had used different language. I didn't use the language that he said I used, but I specifically said I found that language was probably hurtful to the Jewish community. But at the end of the day, my concerns, and I told you, my concerns were still my concerns. Regardless of the language used, my concerns are with the humane treatment and the due process of individuals in this country. If we don't have due process, we don't have a United States of America. And that is still my feeling. Words aside.
Mayor, did you ever get anything from the Attorney General or the City General Counsel in terms of this whole question about whether, if you were to veto this bill, that would result in possible sanctions or
No,
penalties?
not a thing. Have not gotten one communication. I think there are some who like to take things on social media and turn them into whatever creates the most chatter, and that's fine. But I have received absolutely nothing, and I have seen absolutely no comment directed at me. No, in answer to your question, no, I did not.
And there's legislation too that Rory Diamond has, separate legislation that's be coming up next. Part of it would be to say that if the Kids Hope Alliance and my other agencies would have to make sure that every participant in a program is here legally. Talking about, children, youth. Have you had a chance to look at that?
David, I don't even know how that's possible. Did you hear the comments from our UF Health doctor? How would it be possible that anybody receiving city funding would be even able to possibly answer that question? It is, I'm perfectly interested in continuing to learn about his bill, but I don't see how that's possible, and I think that's one of the reasons the bill has been deferred. There are a lot of complications there.
Two more questions.
Anybody else? Well, listen.
This may be a question for you or one of the attorneys that are present, but could anybody put a likelihood that we will see a lawsuit out of this? I don't know if any of your firms are already maybe drafting something of the sort, or just if you think that this is something that would be ripe for a legal challenge.
Go ahead.
This bill will very likely get challenged as unconstitutional, and there are organizations that are already working on a response. And further, similar bills that the state of Florida has recently passed are also being challenged. So it's very likely that it's going to be costly for Jacksonville if this goes through.
Okay, thank you all for being with me. I appreciate it.